Hi, I'm Sarah, parent ambassador for Mary Bethune. I'm reading the 21st chapter in Charlotte's Web. Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur was lying there resting after the excitement and strain of the ceremony. His medal hung from his neck. By looking out of the corner of his eye, he could see Charlotte, said Wilbur. After a while, why are you so quiet? I like to sit still, she said. I've always been rather quiet. Yes, but you seem especially quiet today. Do you feel all right? A little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was a small degree of my success. Your future is secured. You will live a secure and safe life, Wilbur. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days are shortening and it will grow cold. The leaves will shake from the trees and Christmas will come and then the snow of winter. You will live to enjoy a beautiful of the frozen world for you meant you're meant a great deal. You mean a great deal to Zuckerman and he will not harm you, ever. Winter will pass, the days will lengthen, and the ice will melt in the pasture's pond. The sorrow will return in spring, the frogs will awaken, and the warm winds will blow again. All these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy. Wilbur, this is lovely. This world is lovely. Precious days. Charlotte stopped a moment later and tears came down Wilbur's eyes. Oh, Charlotte, he said, to think that when we first met, I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty. When he recovered from his emotion, he spoke again. Why did you do all this for me? He asked. I don't deserve it. I never done anything for you. You have been my friend, replied Charlotte. That is a tremendous thing. I wove my webs for you because I liked you. After all, what is life, anyways? We were born, we live a little while we die. A spider's life cannot help to be something of a mess with all the things trapping and eating flies. By helping you, perhaps I will try to lift my life up tremendously. Heaven knows anyone's life can stand a little of that. Well, said Wilbur, I'm no good at making speeches. I haven't got your gift for words, but you have saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give my life for you. I really would. I am sure, and I thank you for the gracious sentiment. Charlotte, said Wilbur, we are going home today. The fair is almost over. Won't it be wonderful? We'll be back in the barn again with the sheep and geese. Aren't you anxious to get home? For a moment, Charlotte said nothing. Then into her. She spoke in a low voice Wilbur could hardly hear. I will not be going back to the barn, she said. Wilbur leaped to his feet. Not going back, he cried. Charlotte, what are you talking about? I'm done for. I'm done for, she replied. In the day or two, I'll be dead. I haven't even the strength to climb down into the crate. But I doubt if I have any silk in my lower me to get the ground. Hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in agony and pain and sorrow. Great sobs his body. He heaved and grunted. Charlotte, he moaned. Charlotte, my true friend, come now. Let us not make a scene, said the spider. Be quiet, Wilbur. Stop trashing about. But I can't stand this, shouted Wilbur. I won't leave you here alone to die. If you're going to stay, I shall stay too. Don't be ridiculous, said Charlotte. You can't stay here. Zuckerman and the others will be back in any minute now, and they will shovel you into the crate and you'll go away. Besides, it won't make any sense for you to stay. There will be no one to feed you. The fairgrounds soon will be empty and deserted. Wilbur was in panic. He raced around the pen. Suddenly he had an idea. He thought the egg sac and the 514 little spiders that would hatch in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to go home, at least he must take her children along. Wilbur rushed to the pen and put his feet up on the top board, gazing around. In the distance he saw the Zuckermans approaching. He knew he would have to act quickly. "Where is Templeton?" he demanded. "He said in the corner of the straw, under the straw, sleeping," said Charlotte. Wilbur rushed over, pushing his strong snout under the rat and tossed him in the air. "Templeton!" he screamed. "Wilbur, pay attention. Pay attention." The rat surprised out the sound of sleeping, looked at first dazing in disgust. "What kind of monkey shine is this?" he growled. "Can't a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely popped in the air?" "Listen to me," said Wilbur. "Charlotte is very ill. She has only a short time to live. She cannot accompany us home because of her condition. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that I take her egg sac with me. I cannot reach it. I can climb. You are the only one that can do this. There's not a second to be lost. The people are coming. They are here in no time. Please, please, Templeton, climb up and get the egg sac." The rat yawned. He straightened his whiskers and then he looked up at the egg sac. "So," he said in disgust. "So, old Templeton to the rescue again. Templeton, do this. Templeton, do that. Templeton, please run down and dump and get me a magazine clipping. Templeton, please leave me a piece of string so I can spin the web. Oh, hurry," said Wilbur. "Hurry up, Templeton." But the rat was in no hurry. He began to imitate Wilbur. "So, hurry up, Templeton. It is," he said. "No. And what thanks do I get for all these services? Would you like to know? Never a kind word for Templeton. Always abuse, wisecracks, side remarks. Never a kind word for a rat. Templeton," as Wilbur in despair, "if you don't stop talking and get busy, we if you don't stop talking and get busy, all we will be and I will die a broken heart. Please climb up." Templeton lay back in the straw, lazily placing his forepaws behind his head and crossing his knees in the attitude. "Die of a broken heart. How touching. My. I notice that it is always me you come to when in trouble, but I never heard anyone's heart breaking on my account. Oh no, who cares anything about old Templeton? Give it up," screaming Wilbur. "Stop acting like a spoiled child." Templeton grinned and lay still. "Who made the trip after the dump?" he asked. "Why is it old Templeton who saved Charlotte's life by scaring them Abel boys away with those rotten goose eggs? Bless my soul, I can't believe it was old Templeton who your tail and I got back on your feet this morning after you fainted in front of the crowd. Old Templeton, has it ever occurred to you that I'm sick and running errands and doing favors? What do you think? I'm anyway a rat of all works." Wilbur was Wilbur was depressed. Despite the people, "We're coming," and the rat was failing him. Suddenly he remembered Templeton's fondness of food. "Templeton," he said, "I will make you a solemn promise. Get Charlotte's eggs for me and from now on, I will let you eat first. I will let him have your choice of everything in through. I won't touch anything until you have. The rat sat up. You mean that? He said. I promise. Cross my heart. All is a deal, he said. He walked to the wall, started climbing up his stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Growling and complaining, he pulled himself up from the ceiling. He crept up along till he reached the egg sac. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she still had enough strength to move a little. Then Templeton, barely his long, ugly teeth in between, snipping the thread and fastening the sack on the ceiling. Wilbur watched from below. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single one of them harmed. But Templeton walked away at the job and to the cut draft and carried it to the ground where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heavily grated sighed of relief. Thank you, Templeton, he said. I will never forget this as long as I live. Neither will I, said the rat, picking his teeth. I feel as though I've eaten a spool or of thread. Well, we'll go home. Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself into the straw. He got inside just in time for Mr. Zuckerman came along at the moment following Mrs. Abram and Mrs. Zuckerman, Avery and Fern. Wilbur already decided he would carry the egg sac. There was only one way possible. He carefully took a little bundle in his mouth and held it there of his tongue on top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte had told him, that the sack was waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue and made him drool a bit. And of course, he could not say anything, but he was being shoveled into the crate. He looked up at Charlotte and gave her a wink. She was saying goodbye in the only way she could, and she knew her children would be safe. Goodbye, she whispered. Then she summoned all her strength to weigh one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. The next day, the Ferris wheel was being taken apart and the race horses were being loaded into the vans. Entertainers were packing up their belongings and driving away in their trailers. Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and the buildings were empty. The infields were littered with bottles and trash. Nobody of 100 people that had visited the fair knew that the gray spider had played the most important part of all. No one was with her when she died.